Okay. I don't know if this video will ever see the light of day past my video gallery, but I just felt like driving to my favorite little thinking spot, a little nature preserve, and just talking about what was on my mind in relation to growing as a person and how sometimes we're afraid of our own growth. Like, I feel like sometimes we as people get glimpses of who we really are and who we have the capacity to really become, and we see that greatness, and it scares us. Like, it really makes us afraid to lean in and surrender to becoming that person that you see and that person that's being revealed to you. And sometimes that fear is out of concern of what others may think. People that that you care about, thinking that you switched up, thinking that you're acting funny, thinking you're too good for them, or even sometimes the fear of the perceived weight of success or greatness. It's just the fear of goodness in your life and carrying it, and it not being a burden, and you just walking through life without the fear of the sky is about to fall. I feel like that's a real fear, and it's sad, and it's silly, and it's crazy. And as someone that's just finally coming out of it, I really had to take a moment in my just talking time with God, and I was just like, wow, that was literally insane for me to be afraid of being who you're calling me to be, being the version that you keep telling me is in there, the person that you made, the person that's strong and bold and courageous and creative and innovative, the person that is loving and kind and caring and willing to go places where others may not be willing to go, and being able to just stand in that and not worry about how it's perceived or what others think or the false thoughts that they're possibly thinking towards me about that. Coming to that realization has been so sobering, because it's like, this is real. People, myself included, have really been out here afraid to be great, afraid to be amazing, all under the guise of this false humility that I have to keep my head low and only speak when I'm spoken to, and don't rock the boat, don't ruffle no feathers, don't make anyone uncomfortable with my presence. This fear of making others uncomfortable with my presence was just insane to me. I'm only able to say that after getting to the other side of it and beginning to embrace more of who I am as a person. And it almost feels like me getting back to that person after meeting different people, having different encounters and interactions with different friends, different family members, and just experiencing different things. I realized that I began to let even outside fears rub off on me. Ways that I didn't necessarily think before, I began to think that way. Things I didn't used to do, I began to do. I began to have a little more self-doubt than I already had. And some things were kind of generational fear and being quiet and being timid and worrying about what other people thought of me. Always caring about what someone else has to say. That it's like it was in there, but it wasn't at the same time. Like, naturally, I never really cared about what other people had to say about me or what they thought and not from a place where I wouldn't be receptive to input or opinions that I felt mattered. But then there was this other side that was kind of indoctrinated into me, into like, well, you know, don't get out here embarrassing, you know, your family. Don't get out here acting like you ain't got no home training or something like that. And beginning to care about what others thought and what others said from that perspective. But that kind of grew from coming out into the world and not acting a plumb fool into me second guessing and overthinking every little thing. Like, it went from being something that was logical and understandable to something that was a little more extreme. Something that began to muzzle me and disable me from being able to explore and express myself creatively, and even socially sometimes. But I just kind of felt like doing a little video diary or something about it, because I feel like a lot of people are dealing with that, and it's not subject to your age either, because I'm only 23, but I know there are people way older than me and way younger than me that are dealing with this very thing. I can understand, you know, for a younger person, someone in my age range or younger, that, you know, there's a little more time to, you know, shake it and get out of it, get free from that. But I feel for a lot of the older people, it's been ingrained so deeply over time that it'll take a little more to break that mentality off. But yeah, I just kind of, in my reflection time, I just began to realize, like, man, I can't believe how afraid I have been to just be that assertive yet loving, bold yet gracious version of myself that gets things done. Like, that person that you give me an idea, or, you know, God, you give me something, you let me see a glimpse of something, or I come up with something, it's only a matter of time before that thing is happening. And I'm someone that can be very self-sufficient, but not in a prideful way, like I can't ask for help. Sometimes I get so caught up in making a thing happen that I realize I might be knee deep in tasks that I need more hands and more help with. So it might take a minute for me to realize, oh, I kind of can't do this all by myself. Let me ask somebody. Let me start outsourcing. Let me start utilizing others. Let me start delegating some tasks somewhere, because I'm not going to be able to do this all myself. It's never really been from this place of, oh, I could do it all myself, and I want to do it all myself because I want all the credit. I want all the recognition. I don't need no help from nobody. Like, it's never been like that. It's been a little more of a absent-minded workaholic type of thing, to the point where it's like, girl, you realistically, you cannot propel this vision to where it can go by yourself. You know, you can plant the seeds, you can lay the foundation, but for this to grow as big as it can, you need some help. I've realized that in some ways I've even silenced and dumbed down and repressed that version of myself for some time, out of fear of, you know, peers around me, people that I'm close to, close friends, even some family, being uncomfortable. I've honestly felt like if I went for the things I know that I have the capacity to go for and achieve the things that I know I have the capacity and the faith and the belief in myself and in God, like, leading me and guiding me to do, that I would make others insecure, especially my peers, people that I'm in the same age group with, or people that are a little older than me, that are maybe just starting to get their footing with chasing their dreams or being more the person that they need to be and unlearning some things. being around them and just, not necessarily sharing everything that I'm trying to do, because I'm not really an oversharer either, unless you're very close to me. But even that I've had to be careful with, because of course, everyone can't see where you're going, everyone doesn't get the vision. So I have honestly had genuine fears, and I've honestly muzzled myself sometimes, like, man, if I really share with them what I'm going for, I feel like they're gonna look at themselves and say, dang, she doing this, we the same age, or we close to age or something, and I'm just trying to figure out how to sign some papers, or I'm just trying to figure out how to build my credit, I'm just trying to figure out how to get on my feet, or just get into the basics of adulting. And me talking about a business venture, secured lines, and storefronts, and merchandising, and digital stuff is gonna seem as though I'm leaps and bounds above and ahead of them. I feared that wanting to go forward into my future was going to make other people feel like they were stuck in their present. And while that could very well happen, that's also not my responsibility. That's also not my problem. I'm definitely here for helping and supporting anyone that I can, enlightening and educating anyone I can. As soon as I learn about something that is helping me go to the next level, I'm instantly sharing it with other people. I'm instantly like, girl, you could do this like this, you could do this like that. I just did it. I ain't no pro yet, but I just learned how to do this. Let me show you how I just did it, so you could do it too if you want to. I've always been that person. I've never been a knowledge hoarder. Never felt like I had to keep knowledge from others because there was a scarcity of it or something like that. I felt like, hey, if I could learn, you can too, girl. It's enough for us all to win. So yeah, I have been really amazed and even humbled by the realization that for a long time, God has really been trying to get me to believe who I am and to be comfortable with that person. Because the version of myself I've been operating at can only help so many people and only take me so far. I've met my limit. I reached the ceiling for that person. That person even shouldn't have been on the scene as long as they were. But it's time for me to take full hold onto that version that is ready for this next level, ready for this next kind of life. Because there are people in that arena that I need to meet and interact with and assist, and that can also help and pour into me, teach me things, people far above me in knowledge and wisdom and resources and skills that I want to pour into me. But I can't get into those realms and those arenas with those people if I feel like I can't belong there. If I'm keeping myself in areas and in surroundings where I'm limiting myself out of fear that I'm going to make others feel limited. When at the end of the day, that's a battle that they have to face themselves. The same way I've had to face it, they too have to face it. And while people can support you and be there, to encourage you and lift you up, no one can hold your hand through that dark night of the soul. They just can't. Only person that held my hand and helped me through was Jesus. I ain't gonna lie. Because God was the one that initiated for me to take that hard look, and say, okay, on a real tip, all this churchy stuff and all this other stuff aside, I'm really ready to do the real work with you. I'm really ready to help you gut some things and look at the dark side. look at stuff you've never wanted to look at and face before. And you're not facing it alone, but you are making the choice to face it. And I feel like that's what's most important. I don't really know where this video is going, but I just wanted to say to, I guess, anyone else that will ever watch this, it is 100,000% okay to be exactly who God called you to be. It is okay. You cannot worry about if your greatness, and that's with no pride, and that's with no boastfulness, arrogance, cockiness, none of that. You cannot worry if your greatness of who you've been made to be and what you've been made to do makes others feel less great, because that's a battle that they already have, and that's something that's already in their mind. Those are thoughts and lies and attacks on who they are that are already occurring outside of you. So it wouldn't have mattered if it was you or if it was the next person. They still would have thought that, and that's still something for them to overcome. But that's no excuse, and that's not something for you to allow you to stifle yourself. That's not something for you to lean on and say, well, because I don't want my friend, or I don't want my sister, or I don't want my parents to feel like I'm outdoing them, or I'm making them seem like they're not on my level or something. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Keep going. Pray. Be honest with yourself about those fears, because I couldn't go forward with breaking that and dealing with that if I wasn't honest with myself that was why I was doing what I was doing. I could not get out of that mentality until I really faced and was honest with myself that the only reason why I began to dumb myself down or quiet myself down or feel some type of way towards my innovativeness or my creativity or my drive and ambition was because I just did not want to make others feel uncomfortable or little or incapable. I had to face that. I had to be honest with myself about that. But yeah, I think, that was it. And yeah, if you have a similar experience or story, can relate, feel free to share it, to comment it, or message me, whatever. I really like hearing other people's stories, and I like when other people's stories inspire me. It really makes me think of this particular scripture, that, we overcome by the word of our testimonies. Just sharing with other people, no matter what kind of testimony or story it is, just that, hey, this happened to me, but then things turned around. Other people are very encouraged and inspired and touched and motivated by hearing of you overcoming. So never feel ashamed to say, hey, I was down, but now I'm up. And this is how it happened. Because sometimes that just is the key that unlocks somebody else that's down and they can come up. So yeah, that was it. A little bit of a different kind of video, but I will probably do more of these, just little chats, sitting in my car and my little nature preserving stuff, sharing my thoughts. But that's all. I will catch y'all later. Bye.